Hey loves. We're talking about a topic today that's really challenging for a lot of women, and I know it's been really challenging for me in my lifetime. The topic is dieting and food, and I know from personal experience that it can at times feel like that's all you're thinking about. The whole purpose of your life is just to make better food choices so that you can lose weight. When you're in that place of like, I don't like my body, it needs to change, I want to be good enough, I want to turn from my before photo into my after and have the life that the girl in the after photo gets to have. But I'm here to tell you that you do not have to lose weight in order to be worthy of the life of your dreams. You are worthy of that life right now, right this second. So you don't have to wait, and you don't have to obsess about food and dieting and make weight loss the sole purpose of your life in order to have the life of your dreams, in order to be the woman that you want to be, and in order to live at full amplitude. So backing up, yay, hey Elizabeth, nice to have you here. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about my past with food and dieting. I consider myself somebody who's been a serial dieter most of my life. I went on my first diet at the age of 7, and it was not totally on purpose or as like kind of weird and messed up as that sounds, but I was in a family of large humans, and my brother wanted to lose weight so that he could play with his age group in the Pop Warner Football League. So everybody in the family went on Weight Watchers. And that was my first experience with dieting. And from that point forward, I was always aware of my size. I was always bigger than other kids. So whenever I would get really like in the throes of feeling insecure about that, I would say, all right, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to change the way I eat. I'm going to restrict my food, lose weight so that I can fit in and be like everybody else. Hey girl, yeah, 7th grade Weight Watchers from Elizabeth. I hear ya. Preach, sister. We are in the same tribe of serial lifelong dieters. So yeah, that was my history with it. And like all through my life, all through my adolescence, into my adult life, up until a couple years ago, right before my wedding, which I've talked about a ton, I was obsessed with what I was eating, and food was like this constant dialogue running in my head. And it was like, what am I eating? What should I be eating? Is it good enough? Am I eating too much? Am I eating the right things? How will I feel? How will I look? A girl like me shouldn't eat this stuff. What do other people think of the things that I'm eating? It was nonstop. And to the point where if I went to a party or a big Thanksgiving dinner, or even if like somebody set a plate of donuts on the table in a meeting, like that is all I could think about, was eating or not eating the donut. I couldn't focus on my work. I couldn't focus on what I was supposed to be doing or saying or any of that. It was like food all the time. I think a lot of other people have this experience as well, because we're so conditioned to believe that we do need to lose weight in order to become the women that we want to be and have the life that we think we deserve. And I refer to this as the diet myth, because that's how every diet plan, Weight Watchers, Tone It Up, Beachbody, it's how everything is marketed to us. They show you all these before and after photos, and they tell you that once you make your body look like that after photo, then you get to do all the things you want to do. Then you get to have the job you want, the salary that you want, the boyfriend or the husband or the girlfriend or whoever, the car, everything hinges on you becoming that after photo. And that's what dieting would have us all believe, the massive diet culture in our country that we're all a part of. But what I've discovered is once you can let go of those beliefs and stop making your life about food and dieting all the time, and just let yourself, let your body do what it knows how to do, which is draw you to the right food at the right times, in the right amounts, with the right calorie and fat content, for you to feel good and energized to do all the stuff you want to do. And if you can just find a way to press the pause button, or better yet, the delete button on that talk track in your head that's always talking about food and how you're not good enough and how you got to choose food differently so that you can be good enough. Stupid after photos. Yes, Elizabeth, thank you for saying that, girl. Testify, preach. And thank you, Alyssa. Thank you very much. So Yeah, it's all about just getting away from that talk track that would have you believe that you have to make your whole life about food and weight loss in order to be good enough. And then you can actually start to focus on the things that would make you happy and allow you to be the woman you want to be. Like, you're not going to get a master's degree or fall in love or, get the house that you really want if all you're thinking about is food and weight loss. In order to do that other stuff, you need mental energy, and sometimes you actually need like money and time, but you need your resources available to you to pursue that stuff. And if you're using all of your resources trying to lose weight, you're never going to get there. And where this whole thing starts for most of us is with food. It all hinges on food. This time of year especially can be really challenging because food is everywhere. I mean, we're coming up on Halloween, and literally you will not be able to swing a dead cat without knocking over like 5 baskets of candy in your workplace, or your kids are going to bring it home, or your husband. Yes, Hellman, hi puppy. It's just going to be everywhere. So, and then we go right into Thanksgiving, into Christmas, and then all of us eat our hearts out, pretty much for the month of November and December, and obsess about food. And then we get to January and we're like, all right, I'm going to hit the reset button. I'm going to lose all that weight that I gained. And then I'll be, I'm going to do it this year, and then I'll be good enough. And like, usually by February or March, you've moved on from that and you've forgotten all about that gym membership you signed up for. But then the beach body starts up again because it's coming up on spring break and beach season. So it's kind of a vicious cycle that we all get caught in. And it really all hinges on the food choices that you're making around the holidays. So a great action step for all of us to take today is to just make the choice right now. I am not going to let food be the sole focus of my life for the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. Like, I'm going to put a stop to it. And as of today, food is just food. It doesn't represent, my future self that's good enough for all the things I want. Food is just going to be food. And it's something that I do enjoy, and you can have a sensual experience with food, and that's okay. Eating for pleasure, not just for fuel, that's okay. But just not making food like the sole basis of your worth as a human being. So move on from that. Let yourself have a pumpkin spice latte. Let yourself have some candy corn, girl. Let yourself eat that big turkey dinner. Let yourself have a couple scoops of potatoes if you want, if that's what your body is really asking for. And then just don't get in your head about it. Don't psychoanalyze. Don't decide that, oh my God, I ate too much last night, so now I have to like completely redefine my relationship with food so that I can lose weight and be good enough. Just you choose today that that's not the experience you want to have this holiday season. And that's a great first step on the journey to sort of healing your relationship with food and changing the way you look at it so that it's not all wrapped up with your definition of who you are. Popcorn, Alyssa, preach. I love popcorn. And you should have popcorn if you really like it. I mean, do it. What's the harm? It's just popcorn. It's not gonna, that is not the sole basis of your worth, whether or not you had some popcorn at the movie theater or when you're sitting at home drinking wine with your husband tonight. Food does not determine your worth, but for so many of us, that's what it's come to be. And we're not even conscious of it because it's all these sneaky little images, again, like in our Instagram feed, on the TV, even like just at the gym, it's everywhere. And our coworkers talk about the diets that they're on, and they're always, peddling their products and their shakes and their pills and their potions and all this snake oil that's supposed to like magically transform you into that girl in the after photo. And then we think that's what it's all about. We think that's the answer and that's the key to changing our lives and becoming who we want to be. Because once I'm the girl with a flat stomach and her bikini, then I'll get that man, then I'll get that job, then I'll get that house. But that's not how it works. To do that stuff, you have to stop focusing on your weight and stop making that the sole basis of your worth as a human being so that you can focus on other things and do other things. And Alyssa, I'm so glad you said that. I will never give up candy corn. You will never get up popcorn. It's, we get to have the things that we like. It's okay to have a sensual, pleasure-based relationship with food. It's just, listen to your body. Eat the things that your body is asking for. and then you'll probably be okay. So just stop trying to restrict food, control food. For me, anytime that I consciously focus and I'm like, I'm not going to eat any dairy this week, I'm not going to eat it, then suddenly all I think about is cheese. And I want more and more cheese. And before I know it, I'm like blacked out, covered in cheese, standing in front of the fridge, and I've eaten like half a brick of cheese. And so it triggers this cycle again of like the binging and the restricting. Elizabeth, her body is craving some hash browns right now. I celebrate that, Elizabeth. I think you need to get yourself some hash browns. You need to go to McDonald's, go through that drive-through. You know, give yourself what you want, have it, enjoy it, eat every little bite, eat as much as you want until you're full or until you feel like you've had enough, and then go on with your life. Just don't make it the sole focus. If you want a hash brown, have a freaking hash brown. Yes, Mary Jo, amen. So I think that for most of us, what it really comes down to, again, is that we've somehow allowed our worth as a human being to become all like muddled in with our feelings and our decisions about food. And that takes up a ton of mental energy throughout the day. We have this nonstop talk track in our head. I should have that hash brown. I shouldn't have that hash brown. If I let myself have that hash brown, then there's the track of like, oh, I feel so guilty because I ate that hash brown. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, Hellman, you can't have hash browns because you're in training. Hellman is a Paralympic athlete, so he's on a slightly different program. But when he rose his way to victory, then he can have a hash brown after race day to celebrate. But and you know, stuff will come up. Your doctor might say that you're pre-diabetic and that you have to change the amount of sugar you're having in your diet. Maybe you're somebody who really has a compound health issue and you've decided weight loss is what you need to do. And I want to be clear that taking care of your body, addressing health needs, eating in a certain way to fuel, like if you are a competitive athlete and that's what you do for your living, and you need to eat a certain way to support those goals, then I totally say go do that. And all of that can coexist with loving your body, believing that you are more than the food choices that you make, and that your self-worth doesn't hinge on food. Even if you get stomach surgery, it still doesn't have to be something that you're doing to yourself in order to be enough. It can be, I want to have a certain lifestyle. I want to take care of my body and address my health issues. So yeah, I'm going to get my stomach stapled so that I can lose a significant amount of weight. That experience can coexist with body positivity and self-love, being healthy at any size, taking care of yourself, and believing that you're more than your weight. All of those things can be true at the same time. So it's definitely not that I'm saying, don't make healthy choices or don't try to address, especially like medical issues that you might be having through the food choices that you're making. I'm just saying, don't let that dialogue about food and how you're not good enough and then how you need to turn into an after photo to be the woman that you want to be. Don't let that be what motivates you when you choose food or choose the type of medical procedures that you may or may not have or any of that. So, one of the questions that I got leading up to today, and I got a shout out to my girl Promise. I told you that I would speak to you today about what I eat and how I eat. So I'll be very clear that I'm not on any kind of diet and I eat whatever the hell I want. But like most human beings, we kind of get in habits and patterns with our food. So a couple of the things that I'm eating regularly, and I'll share those with you. One of my favorite foods, and some people are going to gag at this, but I love Brussels sprouts. I know, it's controversial, but I really like them if they're cooked well and prepared in a way that doesn't turn them all gray and mushy. Like, they can actually be really good. And I consider that my reset button food. And what I mean by that is if I've gone for a few days and maybe I was at a wedding or with my family and we were just doing some real eating, but maybe things got a little crazy and I'm not feeling like myself, and I'm starting to feel like my food issues take over in my brain, those little nasty voices coming back, what I will do is make a really healthy dinner to just hit the reset button, get those voices quieted, get back to feeling like, okay, I know how to eat and fuel my body in a way that makes me feel good, and eat foods that I really enjoy, but also make me feel amazing. So I'll make some delicious chicken or pork. Sometimes I scramble eggs and I eat that with really delicious Brussels sprouts. I like to cook them with coconut oil and unsweetened shaved coconut in there, and then they're like really crispy and crunchy and delicious. And it sounds crazy. It doesn't sound like it would taste good, but it does, I promise you. And I'm going to post a recipe after this. So that's my reset button food. When I start to just feel like the food issues are getting crazy, I'm not feeling like myself, I'm feeling like the food dialogue is starting to take up a lot of space in my brain again, I make myself that really healthy dinner, and I always include Brussels sprouts in that. Other foods that I really enjoy, I'm a smoothie girl. Tried and true, love it. Love to start my day that way. One of my favorite smoothies is just frozen blueberries with some spinach or some kale, some kind of green, a little protein powder, a little coconut milk or almond milk, and then I sometimes put coffee in there, and weirdly, like the combination of protein powder and blueberries and coffee, it kind of tastes like blueberry pancakes, and I can't explain why, but it's really delicious. And it's a great way to get a ton of nutrients to just like jolt your body up in the morning and get going. So that's another favorite food of mine. It's a good, like, that's my Kickstarter food. Like, let's get it going. I want to be energized. I want to get the right nutrition to do all the things I want to do today. And I want to eat something that tastes really delicious. So I'll usually make a smoothie. Another really good smoothie recipe, if you put peanut butter and blueberries or raspberries or some kind of berries in there, it kind of tastes like peanut butter and jelly. So that's a really fun little smoothie hack that you could try out. So yeah, I mean, like, I eat foods that I like, and I'm playful in the way that I approach food. There are definitely nights when I'm like, step aside, it's time for nachos. And then other nights, it's time for Brussels sprouts, because I want to get back to loving my body and taking care of myself and fueling myself in the way that I know I need to fuel in order to do all the things I want to do. And many of you out there are in the same position as me. You have a busy life, demanding schedule. So when you get in those patterns of just eating like a lot of sugar and a lot of flour and just like unhealthy stuff, like you actually don't feel good. And then once you start to pay attention to what I'm eating and how that's making me feel, you notice like, well, I kind of feel sluggish after I eat that big plate of nachos. Like, I like it every once in a while, but I can't eat that every day because I don't feel the way I want to feel. So then you make different choices and you start fueling your body to support you. Like for me, I have to eat and hydrate in a way that lets me feel rested and refreshed and energized. I have a lot of early mornings. I do a lot of travel. My brain has to be really active for when I'm writing, and I got to be able to come up with ideas. So that's at the core of the choices that I make about food day to day, is how do I want to feel, not how I want to look in a bathing suit or anything else. Not whether or not, Jillian Michaels or the Tone It Up girls approve of my food choices. I eat to feel the way that I know I need to feel in my body with my schedule. And for everybody, that's going to look a little different. Like, you need a hash brown in your life now and again, Alyssa, and I understand that. I do. But you also know, I'm sure, that if you ate nothing but hash browns, you probably wouldn't feel very good, and you'd be missing out on a lot of really important nutrients. So it's just about taking all the restrictions that you may have placed on yourself when it comes to making food choices, let those slide, and start thinking about what tastes really good. What do I enjoy eating? What is my body asking for? After I eat this thing, how do I feel? And then that is really the core of what's called intuitive eating, which is like a whole crazy science and a culture that I can't adequately speak to because I'm not a trained nutritionist, and I won't even try. But Google intuitive eating. There's a lot of great resources out there for you, and I'll post a couple here after the video. But it really boils down to listening to your body, paying attention how your body responds to certain food, being really present when you eat. Like when you sit down, Alyssa, to eat that hash brown, I want you to do nothing but eat the hash brown. Turn the radio off, just stop and sit in the car at the McDonald's parking lot, eat it. Taste every bite, chew it, really experience the texture and the flavor, get that salty, fatty goodness on your tongue. Like, really eat that hash brown. Don't just scarf it down as you drive from point A to point B, because then you miss out on the pleasurable experience of eating the food. So when you do eat food, pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to the experience that you're having with the food, and allow yourself that moment of pleasure, and you're going to be more satisfied by it. You're not going to want to eat 2 or 3 hash browns. You're going to be like, this one hash brown was so delicious, and my craving is satisfied. I feel full. I feel ready to go. And then pay attention to how you feel afterward. Does the hash brown make you feel energized? Does the hash brown make you feel like a little gurgles in your tummy? Is everything good? Because that's going to all contribute to the choice that you make the next time. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. Absolutely not, because sometimes you do need hash browns in your life, but just really pay attention to the experience that you're having with food. Way too many of us eat standing up. We eat at our desks while we're working. We eat in the car, and we don't really taste or experience our food. And then that leads to a really disconnected relationship between food and our bodies and our intuition about what our body needs. So tips today, first and foremost, whatever restrictions you're placing on your food right now, just for the sake of today, we're going to let those go. Especially with the holiday craziness you're going to choose. Not this year. I'm not going to do the diet yo-yo roller coaster craziness. Bye, Hellman. Thank you for tuning in. So tip number 1, remove all those crazy restrictions. Tip number 2, during the holidays, you're going to give yourself permission to enjoy the food and not turn into a nut job about it and not get all crazy in the head thinking that, you're not good enough because you're not going to lose weight. So you let those restrictions go. You give yourself permission to really enjoy the food. And then you start to listen to what your body is asking for, whether that's a healthy smoothie or a hash brown. And pay attention to how everything you're eating really tastes, the texture, how it feels, and enjoy that experience. Don't do anything but eat when you're eating and really experience food. And then also just, look at how you're feeling after you eat. Did that food make you feel the way you thought it would? I know I used to eat this really greasy breakfast sandwich, and I thought I loved it. I thought it was so delicious, but it was really a way that I kind of avoided the job I was in and how unhappy that I was. So when I started to pay attention to my food and I started to pay attention to how I felt after I ate it, I was like, it tastes good, but I don't really like how I feel when I eat that whole grease bomb of a breakfast sandwich in the morning. And then I started eating it less and less, and if I did eat it, I would maybe eat half and have a smoothie with it. So it does change your behavior around food the more that you pay attention to how you feel after you eat something. And pay attention to your energy level throughout the day. What does your body need? Because the purpose of food, and it's touchy because I don't believe that food is only fuel, but food absolutely is fuel for your body. So if you're not eating the right food in the right amounts, at the right times throughout the day, and you're not getting the energy you need, you want to pay attention to that. So just remember that food is there to support you in becoming the woman that you want to be, because it gives you the energy that you need. So it's not something that's in competition with that. It's not something that you should be spending so much time thinking about that it's going to take away your resources to be able to go out and do all the other things you want to do in your life, but it will support you in doing that if you're fueling your body correctly. So thank you for everyone who tuned in today and for all of your wonderful comments and suggestions. If there's something that you want to hear more about, let me know. I'm going to be posting recipes. I'm going to be posting a little log of what I eat in a day, and I'll post some information about intuitive eating so you can learn more. But as always, it's all about you guys. It's all about what you want to hear about and what you want to talk about. So let me know if I didn't address your question, or if you have something to share that you want other people to know, and we'll make sure to get to that next time. So thank you all for tuning in. Elizabeth, you rock. Thank you for being on the call today. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. Much love.